Keanu Reeves wasn't supposed to be in the Arctic. It started with a quiet donation to a Canadian research group studying climate anomalies near the magnetic North Pole. No press, no gala, just Keanu wiring funds anonymously and moving on. But when a call came weeks later from Dr. Sienna Holm, a climatologist leading the team, her voice shook with something unexpected urgency. "Mr. Reeves," she said over a crackling satellite line, "we found something buried in the ice. It's not natural." Keanu leaned forward in his LA kitchen, barefoot, holding a chipped mug of coffee. Not natural how? Something metallic. Huge. Radar reflective and predates any known expedition. And it's emitting a signal. That got his attention. 2 weeks later, bundled in thermal gear, Keanu stepped onto the icy expanse of Ellesmere Island, far above the Arctic Circle. The cold punched like a boxer, even through 3 layers of gear. Around him, white stretched endlessly, broken only by the jagged teeth of frozen mountains. Dr. Holm met him at Base Polaris, a modular science station that looked like a cluster of shipping containers dropped on a glacier. She was younger than he expected, early 30s, sharp eyes, with a streak of frost in her hair that had nothing to do with age. "We named it Object Omega," she said, leading him into the research tent where monitors glowed dimly. "It's 300 feet below the ice, shaped like a ship, sort of, but nothing we've seen matches its design." Keanu squinted at the sonar. Could it be military? She hesitated. It might be, but the alloy isn't on any known registry. And then there's the beacon. She flipped a switch, and a rhythmic pulse played from a speaker. Slow, mechanical, and oddly melodic. "Sounds like music," Keanu murmured. "Yeah, Russian operatives tried to intercept the signal. They've gone quiet since." Keanu frowned. "Gone quiet how?" "They vanished." Outside, the wind howled louder. Keanu stared at the ice. "I didn't come here to play hero." "You might have to," Sienna replied quietly. "Because this thing under the ice, it's waking up." The dig site wasn't much, just a glowing blue pit, surrounded by scaffolding, buzzing floodlights, and nervous scientists. But below that, 300 feet under the frozen crust, thing they called Object Omega waited in silence. Keanu stared down the shaft, the wind clawing at his parka. "How do we get to it?" Dr. Holm handed him a helmet. "We built a lift platform. You'll be with me and 2 others. No one goes alone." He glanced sideways. "You've already been down there?" She nodded. "Twice. But the object had changed the 3rd time." "Changed how?" "It opened." 10 minutes later, Keanu was descending into ice that hadn't seen sunlight in millennia. Walls of frost glimmered around him as the platform hummed downward, surrounded by metal scaffolds and power lines like veins in a glacier. Then they saw it. Object Omega emerged from the dark like a ghost, half buried in the ice, 20 stories tall, and shaped like a massive teardrop. Its surface was smooth and matte black, covered in symbols that looked neither human nor alien, like a language lost in time. "Jesus," Keanu muttered. "It looks alive." Sienna pointed to a crack on the side. "That wasn't there before. It's a hatch." The team landed beside the opening. Steam puffed from the seams. No one touched it. Keanu stepped closer, and the beacon inside pulsed again. Boom-dum, like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the hatch groaned open. A rush of warm air blasted from within, fogging their visors. Lights flickered in the distance, illuminating what looked like a tunnel. Not man-made. Organic. Smooth walls, with strange fibers glowing faintly. "Anyone else getting a bad feeling?" muttered Lucas, the expedition's engineer. "We go in," Sienna said, checking her oxygen. "Quick recon. 10 minutes max." Keanu hesitated, then followed. Every step echoed unnaturally. The temperature inside was oddly warm, like stepping into a greenhouse. The walls hummed faintly with life. Then they reached the central chamber. It was a dome. Floating in the middle was a sphere, metallic, rotating slowly, covered in glowing glyphs. As they approached, the sphere reacted. It turned, tilted, then spoke. Not in words, in images, in memories. Keanu gasped. He saw flashes of war. Ice. Cities in flames. Then a single image lingered, a phoenix, wings of fire, flying over a frozen earth. What the hell was that? Lucas gasped. Sienna's face had gone pale. I think it's a warning. They scrambled out of the chamber, hearts pounding. Behind them, the sphere dimmed but didn't stop spinning. The moment they were out of the object, the hatch sealed itself shut, quietly, without drama, like a breath being held. Back in the tent, no one spoke for a while. Then Lucas broke the silence. That thing read our minds. Keanu was still staring at nothing. No, it showed us what it remembered. Dr. Holm nodded slowly. The sphere is a kind of recorder, a time vault. It's storing history. But whose? That night, the Arctic sky lit up in unnatural colors. Auroras danced, but something was wrong. The hues flickered in patterns, structured, not random. Morse code. Sienna decoded it by morning. It was one repeating phrase. Phoenix Protocol engaged. Then came the second twist. Satellite data showed rising heat levels beneath multiple ice shelves across the globe. Antarctica, Greenland, Siberia. Something's sinking with the object, Sienna said, her voice dry. Something under the surface. More of them, Keanu asked. Or pieces of the same thing waking up. Then came the global alerts. A Norwegian research base went dark. A U.S. listening post near the South Pole stopped transmitting. A Chinese icebreaker vanished off the coast of Franz Josef Land. Keanu stood alone on the edge of Base Polaris, watching the horizon where clouds churned unnaturally. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a scientist. But somehow, he was in the middle of a waking legend. Sienna joined him, her breath forming brief ghosts in the cold. I didn't bring you here just because you funded us, she said. He turned slowly. What do you mean? She held out a weathered notebook. My father worked on something called Project Ice Phoenix during the Cold War. The government buried it. He left this behind when he disappeared. Look at the last page. Keanu opened it and froze. A sketch of Object Omega. The same shape, same markings, and beneath it scrawled in hurried ink. This vessel holds Earth's second chance. Do not awaken it unless extinction is certain. Keanu closed the book slowly. We already woke it, he said. Sienna nodded. The question is, are we already too late? Snow lashed the dome of Base Polaris as a global crisis unfolded. Deep beneath the Earth's poles, dormant structures were stirring, each emitting low-frequency pulses that matched Object Omega signal. Governments scrambled. Satellites failed. Panic spread. Inside the command tent, Keanu and Sienna stared at new seismic data. Every pulse was weakening the ice caps. If the trend continued, sea levels would rise by meters within days. Why would a second chance protocol start an extinction event? Lucas asked. Sienna pointed at the glyphs. It's not causing it, it's reacting. The Earth is dying. The protocol is a failsafe. A reboot. Keanu frowned. But a reboot for what? Sienna hesitated. For civilization. The Phoenix Protocol doesn't just preserve knowledge, it preserves a select few. Keanu's eyes narrowed. A seed vault for humans. And it's choosing. Then the sphere inside Object Omega began transmitting again, this time, directly to the base's equipment. A list of names appeared on the monitors. Scientists, artists, engineers. Some were dead, others missing. At the bottom of the list, Keanu Reeves. Keanu took a step back. What the hell? The protocol's AI must have analyzed cultural impact, survivability, influence, Sienna muttered. It wants to preserve storytellers. Inspiration. You're a symbol. He exhaled sharply. What happens to the rest of us? Before anyone could answer, alarm screamed. A blinding beam of light shot into the sky from the dig site, piercing the clouds. Then, the impossible happened. One of the ancient ice mountains split in half, and a vessel rose. It was massive, sleek, dark, and shaped like a phoenix with folded wings. The ground trembled as it hovered silently above the crater. The Ark, Sienna whispered. It's here to evacuate. Keanu looked around at the team, fear, awe, and disbelief in every face. Suddenly, the beacon's pulse slowed. Then a final message appeared on every screen. Choose 72 hours until submersion. No second launch. A single transport. A single flight. The world descended into chaos, but Base Polaris remained focused. Keanu recorded a message, broadcast globally, translated into 50 languages. This ship isn't a prize. It's a responsibility, he said into the camera. We can't save everyone, but we can carry forward the best of who we are, our knowledge, our compassion, our courage. Not just the famous, the selfless, the forgotten heroes, the people no algorithm can rank. By the third day, the ship began boarding. Keanu watched people he barely knew step into the unknown, chosen for reasons only the protocol understood. When it was finally his turn, he paused at the threshold. Sienna smiled sadly. You'll make a great first philosopher on the other side. Keanu grinned. Only if there's coffee. He stepped aboard. The hatch sealed. The engines ignited. And from the ruins of a frozen world, the Phoenix rose, carrying the spark of humanity toward a second chance.